Not all hill climb cars are the same. Some are over 50 years old, and others have over 1,000 horsepower. But they all have one goal: get to the top faster than anyone else.
Hello and welcome to No Doubt Racing. I'm Nicholas Kyle, and on today's episode it's all about the rules and regulations of hill climb. Alright, so let's start with the historic race cars. Historic race cars has been a big thing always in South Africa. We've got the Franschhoek Motor Museum, which hosts all the legendary South African race cars. We've got Formula 1 cars. So we've got a great rich history of old race cars. I think it dates all the way back to the 70s when F1 was racing here. We also had our own F1 series, and then Killarney in Cape Town also hosts the Lauda event. I think it's a Lauda special historic race car event, which a lot of people from overseas actually send their cars here to come and race part of this historic race series. So it's quite big in South Africa. And then SIMOLA also has their own classes based on the historics. It's normally the first two events, the Thursday and the Friday. Thursday obviously qualifying, and Friday the actual race. So the rules and regulations about the historic race cars, they got a bunch of different classes which start from H1 to H10. H1 would be the pre-war historic cars. Up until H10, which is the Formula 1 cars. So basically the main rules are the silhouette of the car, the chassis, the gearbox, the engine. All of that needs to stay standard. You're not allowed to change a bunch of things. Obviously cars need to get maintained and looked after and serviced and all that. So they did change the rules where cars that have fuel injection cars that have carburetor can be changed to fuel injection, but it needs to be on the same basis, or basically use the same intake style that it was used in the olden days, not like direct injection like these days of the newer cars. Turbochargers and stuff also probably can get upgraded, I think, to a newer version, but the old style of it still needs to stay the same. Let's say the engineering behind it needs to stay the same. And then no slicks are allowed, no semi-slicks are allowed, only the production style tires that it came with. Obviously I think they've got a set of 4 different categories of tires which you can choose of. And electronic wise, everything needs to stay old school as well. No limited slip diffs, no sequential gearboxes. All of that needs to stay original. And then, as I say, all the aero, there's not allowed to be major upgrades on the aero department. Everything needs to stay the way it basically was built. The aero, the silhouette of the car, the style rims, the brakes, stuff like that. And then the interior from H2 to H4 needs to stay like the production car was based on. You're not allowed to strip it too much. Obviously safety aspect is allowed to go until modern days, a modern style seat and a modern style roll cage, but the rest is not allowed. You're also not allowed to run any nitrogen, methanol, added turbos or superchargers. All of that needs to stay the same. And then DOT street tires as the manufacturer intended. And then another interesting fact is, up until H9 and 10, which is the full-fledged race cars cars are not allowed to be lower than 50 millimeters, which is actually quite low, but yeah, that's just to keep it a bit more, I would say, so that people don't cut up the car too much to get it to start to work like a active aero underneath the car. And then yeah, the main rules for racing stays the same. Each competitor gets a time to run from the start, lowest part of the hill up until the highest part of the hill, and then obviously the winner of each class stays in that bracket. And then they also have the overall historic race cars that actually got won by a March. I think it's a 767 March if I'm correct, not 100% sure on that, but yeah, I'll put a photo of that car. It is quite fast. And that's it for the historic race cars. Let me know what is your favorite historic race car down in the comments below, and then we can chat about it. I'm quite a huge fan of old race cars. They just have that nostalgia about them, the smell and the old school engineering. And yeah, like I said, South Africa has always had a rich racing history, and we still love the old race cars. And don't forget to like and subscribe. It does help the channel a lot. If I get to 500 subscribers, I do want to start selling merch, obviously on a bunch of different type of colors, but yeah, just subscribe. It is for free and it'll help the channel grow a lot. Okay, so let's go to the next class, which is the production class, which is obviously for standard production cars with a slight wiggle room. Right, so last year the fastest production car was actually a Mercedes. This one here, and it's actually a beautiful car. Interesting fact is Mercedes launched this car at the event, so it was kind of like a debut, and they had to set the parameters of the computer because it didn't want to release full power and was governing the top speed, because basically the hill climb, SIMOLA Hill Climb, is on a national road, so it didn't release, you know, the full power of the car. So Mercedes technicians actually had to change the program on the computer to activate the car so you can get full power. And now all those cars have a hill climb. I'm not sure if it's a function or something, but they activated it, and it's all to do with SIMOLA Hill Climb, which is quite neat. That, you know, because of the Knysna Speed Festival, every single Mercedes, they had to change and update the computer because of that, which is quite good. Alright, so let's get into all the rules and regulations of the production cars. So first of all, it needs to be a production class car, and then as you can see here, it's from A1 up until A8 is all the classes basically of the production cars. And then the rules, first of all, it needs to be a production car that made it from a production, you know, line. If it's a special model, you have to be able to show the brochure so that it's not a small limited run, but actually, you know, they made it in mass production. I think limited of 500 cars is like the key of it. Alright, so everything needs to be stock standard. Engine, gearbox, drivetrain, the whole shebang needs to stay stock. All the splitters, wings, and aero parts also need to be from the production car lineup. So it can obviously be a uprated version, but it needs to be sold as is. All the interior needs to be stock standard, but you're allowed to put a roll cage in, and I think a bucket seat, if I believe, just to keep it safe, but the rest needs to be stock standard full interior. And fuel needs to be 95 octane, no fuel additives, no nitrogen, no methanol, nothing. It has to just be a normal pump gas, 95 octane, like you get from any other petrol station or garage. Alright, wheels and tires need to be same width, same size, and same diameter of the production cars. No semi-slicks, and no slicks, like full slicks. So everything needs to be the same. And I believe also they take it a bit further, and it needs to also be the same, I would say, make and model as what the car came out with. Because I do know last year, or the year before last year, they actually, a guy in a Golf R needed to go back and change his tires. I think maybe it was a bit too, like the compound maybe a bit too soft, so it needs to be in that range. But obviously if you want to enter, just make sure that you have the right tires specifically. I think again it's the same rules where you have like a choice between 4 to 5 different brands of tires, obviously up until your choice. But I think the softness of the tire needs to be in that parameter of the production car. Alright, so from A1 up until A4 is your hatchbacks and your 5-cylinder, 6-cylinder typical sports cars. And then from A5, A6 would be like your Ford Mustangs, your V8s and your supercars. And then higher tiers, obviously A7 and A8 is going to be more your hybrid supercars, and touching on the A8 is actually a hybrid electric vehicle like the Ferrari, which has a hybrid system. Really fast car. I was quite impressed with it when I saw it at the Speed Festival in Cape Town. It's quite a quiet car, quite unconsuming. Obviously it's a supercar, touching on hypercar speeds, but extremely fast for a production car. I think they are really pushing the boundaries of what standard cars that you can buy off a floor is capable of, which is kind of scary, to be honest. It makes the ordinary person that still wants to upgrade his car and turbo it and boost it kind of think, you know, what's the point? Although it's a lot more fun if you can go fast in a Golf, because remember, there's always a Golf faster than you. Alright, so unlimited class, definitely my favorite class, and I think also your favorite class. So unlimited class is split into 2 classes. It's the saloon class and then the race class, basically. When it comes to modifications, this is where things really open up. In unlimited class, there is basically no rules, no restrictions, everything is open. Any engine upgrades are allowed, engine modifications are allowed, turbochargers, superchargers, modifications are actually encouraged, and ingenuity to pushing the bounds of all the cars and what is actually capable for that purpose-built car. Power-wise, when it comes to power, anything goes. Engine swaps, maximum power you can push out of it, from a natural aspirated rotary motor to a full-blown 1400 horsepower twin turbo V6. It's all open. Can be electric, can be hybrid, even hydrogen, anything goes. You can run performance systems like nitrogen, turbos, superchargers, water meth, any system that's open or can improve the car's power capabilities, compressed air, anything is open. But there's one exception. In the natural aspirated cars, chemically injected is not allowed. It needs to stay naturally aspirated. And when it comes to tires, it's also open class. Semi-slicks, full slicks, full race track with heated blankets, that's all open. Anything goes. When it comes to electronics, everything is open as well. You can do launch control, you can do traction control, unlimited engine management, functions.
You're looking at this guy over here. So this is your sensor over here.
Okay, and that runs with the ABS.
That runs with the ABS. Yeah.
Alright. And then at the back there, that's just all your modules.
So that over there, that's the TCM. This is a PDM.
Track
So we've got
control
two power.
module.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
so remember, like a traditional car, it's got like a fuse box.
Yes, yeah.
There's no fuses in a
Yes,
race
yeah.
car, so you've got a power distribution
Yes,
module.
yeah.
You've got one in the front and one in the back. That's your transmission control module for the gearbox.
Okay.
These are the solenoids for the DRS system. So you'll see.
Okay,
the
so
wheels
yeah. So you got front and rear DRS.
both, yeah,
Alright.
simultaneously.
And does the driver activate it or speed activated?
Via GPS.
GPS. Okay,
Yeah.
so semi-speed, semi-yaw control, all of that together.
Everything is all integrated. Yeah.
Sure. That's hours and hours of setting up and testing and all that stuff.
Months of work.
Well,
Yeah.
months of work, yeah. Boost by gear, overboost, whatever you can think of, even DRS that's activated by GPS, which is just bonkers. So it's all open. If you can think it, you can use it. The only place where things are strict is safety. You need to have a proper FIA spec roll cage, need to get a proper racing seat, proper racing harnesses, fire extinguisher, especially when there's a fuel system in the car. There needs to be another cover over the fuel system to keep that contained. And you'll see a lot of guys have fire extinguishers, or you actually get a fire extinguisher system with nozzles that sprays directly in the engine, sprays to the driver, and then normally around the fueling system, which can either get activated. There's a wire that normally runs where you imagine a fire is, and once that wire is burnt, it's a very specific special wire. Once it gets to a certain heat, it kind of burns off, I believe, and then it'll automatically activate the system, or you can just push a button and it'll just spray all over. And that is safety for you and your car. These cars cost millions of dollars, and that's just the money that you put into it. That's not the time, the effort, or the people that has to come together to make it work. So in a lot of instances, it's actually worth it to spend that extra bucks, but to eventually save your car and save your life. You know, life is unlimited. You can't put money on someone's life. So that's why all the cars first go through scrutineering, which normally happens in town in Knysna. That's where actually the public can come and see the cars personally, which I think is quite good. Very nice of the organizers to do it like that. And then there's also a parade lap where the cars actually drive out. They kind of stack them, and then 5 o'clock the afternoon they drive through the main road of Knysna. I'll be hosting it, a live feed on that, so please put a notification and keep your eyes on it. That'll happen on the Friday from 5 o'clock until 6 o'clock, I believe. That's when the parade is, and it's normally spectators all alongside the road, which is pretty bonkers. They do burnouts, and a lot of the drift guys from Monster Energy last time did a mini drift spectacular, whatever you call it, spin tires, stuff like that. So yeah, please, I would love it if you guys can join me on live. That'll be awesome, and it's also the first time I'm going to actually do live, so that's kind of also a new thing. And I don't know if you noticed, but I've got a different shirt on as well. Again, something that I'll eventually start selling in my merch store. And again, safety, if it doesn't pass scrutineering, or any other safety guys see that there's a problem with the car, they'll immediately stop it. You either fix it or it gets disqualified. And also, if there's a few things that's changed during the day, they'll either move the car up to a different class, or again, you're out of the race. And pit rules, fueling needs to be obviously in a designated area, and that's normally allocated. Each race car with his race team gets a space in the pits, which is kind of quite packed, I must say, in SIMOLA. Other places the pits are a bit bigger, and it's a bit more, I can say, every car gets its own stall, but it's like a normal road, so they kind of have to use the space that they get. I would have loved if, I don't know, maybe this year the organizers will make it a bit bigger, and we'll see. But yeah, if you refuel the car, fix the car, all of that, it needs to be done in that designated area. They don't want people fixing the cars on the way to the starting line, stuff like that. You're also not allowed to tune the car while it's on the run, which normally, for instance, if you want to tune a car on the road, you'll sit there with your laptop, you'll put it in 3rd gear or 4th gear, whatever is 1-to-1 ratio, flat tap it, and then you'll read your analogs and stuff on your computer, and then, you know, set it and tune it, where if you do a run, you just do a run. Afterwards, you have to log that run, and then afterwards you can, you know, adjust whatever fueling or whatever stuff you want to adjust. But no tuning while you're on the track, which kind of just says, you know, it's a basic thing, but, you know, people do try stuff. And the reason for that is organizers want to make it fast. You know, they got a bunch, like 80 cars that run, and they need to bunch up those 80 cars in a certain time period so that everything runs quite good and smooth. That's also a big thing about SIMOLA, is cars get chosen. You can maybe write in your car and hope, but they actually choose the car, and I think that is one of the reasons. I will definitely do a bit more deeper dive in the next episode about stuff like that and different cars and things that normally come to SIMOLA. But yeah, for that, that's just one of the no-nos of SIMOLA Hill Climb, and which is also fair. And what makes Unlimited so special is it's unlimited. You can basically do whatever comes to your mind, and the variety of cars are amazing. It's, you know, anything from a new Nissan Skyline, well, Nissan GTR, or a Nissan GTR. Anyway, you can get anything from a GTR that's 1400 horsepower, got active aero, DRS front and back with a huge wing. You can get a Toyota MR2, which is supposed to be a 2-liter naturally aspirated, small, light, nimble car, which now produces, I think, almost 500 kilowatts, huge wing at the back, big splitter in front, underneath aero. It's just crazy. It's got a 3rd element spring, which is just bonkers. Alright guys, so that's it for this episode. Please like and subscribe, it does help the channel grow a lot, and you can comment below. I'll be happy to reply to any questions you guys have, and you can also let me know what else would you like to see on this channel that I have to cover. And then just a heads up, I will be live. It's going to happen on the 1st of May this year, obviously, down at Knysna. I'll be hosting, well, I'll go live on my phone, so you guys will see the parade lap. I don't know how long it's going to be. It's normally about an hour, but yeah, please stay tuned. Put the notification button on so that you know, and just keep an eye out. I will definitely, closer to the event, I'll let you guys know. And then yeah, thanks for watching, thanks for subscribing, and until next time, when in doubt, go flat out. Cheers.
Machinery right there. If it's crazy, can't tell from this.